Hey friends, welcome back to Astrology. Today my name is Mel Rose and I'm here to share some astrology and maybe a little tarot with you. Today is Thursday, March 23, 2023. The sun and moon are in Aries. Are you feeling the fire? Are you feeling the initiative, the push? As an Aries sun, I know that I am definitely feeling the springing and the sense of initiative, the momentum, the desire to get up and get active. So today, the big deal though is that Pluto goes into Aquarius, and that's a really big deal. Pluto's been in Capricorn for 20 plus years, and it moves on into Aquarius today. It'll be in Aquarius for a couple of months, and it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn for the rest of the year. And next year, it will go back into Aquarius and stay there for about 20 years. So we're looking at a whole new section, a whole new generation of people coming about, a whole new generation of transformation coming about, because Pluto is our planet for transformation. This is what, this is the planet that brings us through those extremes of experience, individually and collectively, those high highs and low lows that allow us to learn and grow and transform our approach to being human as we do so. And of course, that in turn, contributes to our continued evolution as a human race. So right now we are transforming and we are in transition because Pluto is going to cross that line into Aquarius. It starts off the day at like 29.5 degrees Capricorn and then moves on into Aquarius this afternoon. Is it this afternoon? It is early this morning at 7:13 Central Standard Time, friends. So this is an Earth to air transit. It's like taking flight. Imagine Pluto with a little hang glider running off the end of the cliff and just soaring off into the air. It gives us a larger perspective. It expands what we can see, and it allows us to take more into consideration that way. We're going to go through 2 months of this transformation on the global collective scale, in terms of our sense of fairness and equity and the support and uplift of all people. And then we're going to move on back into Capricorn and say, okay, there's some stuff we left undone here. We're going to go back and finalize the sort of the transformation of structures for support that we've been doing for the past 20 years. Okay, and then next year it's all the way on. Pluto in Aquarius, transformation of humanity into a thing that is more inclusive, more collective, more considerate of all people's needs and desires. More interested in the support and uplift of all people. So, this is a time coming up where we're really going to be focused on making sure every voice is heard and every vote is counted, right? And it's also a time when we want to be nurturing independent thinking. It's not going to be, Aquarius is about independent thinking. So it's not going to be a time when we sort of lean on old ways of doing things. And if we do, we might just have a little problem with the old ways sort of crumbling out from underneath us at that point. So Pluto's in a lot of conversations today. The sun is sextile to Pluto at this time. And that's, the sun is about, our ambition, our sense of purpose in the world. And Pluto gives us a lot of power to see to the core of things and to move things along. So, we're kind of driven to pursue our passions at this time. Pluto makes a square, the moon makes a square here to Pluto. Look at all these planets lined up here and just sort of talking with Pluto. The moon makes a square here to Pluto today, and it's happening at the very same time that the moon moves on into Taurus. So the moon is in transition today. It starts out in Aries, and it's in Aries when Pluto moves into Aquarius, but then shortly thereafter it moves on into Taurus. And at that same time, moon will make a square with Pluto, and it says we might face a challenge when something's revealed. Moon and Pluto, that's your interior life, how you think, or how you feel, how things feel to you, your private relationships and conversations, that kind of stuff. So, things can come up when the moon and Pluto get together. Things are revealed, they're uncovered, they're recalled, they're discovered, and it can be challenging when you've got that square aspect. It can make you, act out in certain ways, or threaten to make you act out in certain ways that don't really work. So just be aware of that. Venus is also square to Pluto at this time. And we've talked about this already, but Venus is square to Pluto, you know, talks about the potential for control issues or power struggles, especially when it comes to things and people that we value, right? Our romance and our finance, who we love, what we like to get in terms of compensation, recognition, acknowledgement. You know, we might be considering, we might be in a little bit of a competition at this time, or feel like we're in a competition at this time. And so, you know, that's another sign, another square sign to say, hey, there might be some challenges coming up with this transformative moment, in this transformative and transitional moment, as Pluto comes out of Capricorn and goes into Aquarius. And so those challenges look different in Capricorn and in Aquarius, right? Mars is also quincunx to Pluto right now. This is kind of a neither good nor bad aspect, where we're looking for some adjustment, right, in the energy between them. So Mars is your active sense of initiative, and Pluto is about transformation. It says we may be a little more, you know, driven to pursue our passions, a little more competitive than is necessary. We can, you know, if you become more assertive or aggressive or competitive than necessary, then you may experience some pushback from other people who are also trying to pursue their passions and get things done. So we want to make sure, play it a little bit cool. Don't rush ahead. Don't try to get things done ahead of time. You know, go with the flow of time and space and other people, and, you know, pursue what you want, and be competitive if you want to, but, you know, just try not to overdo it. And then also Neptune is sextile to Pluto, and I didn't really understand this until I was looking into it today, but I mean, I know that Neptune's been sextile to Pluto as long as I can remember, but it's actually been sextile to Pluto since 1950, and will be for another 9 years until 2032. 2023, 2032, right? So this really represents, because Neptune is, you know, is about our broader sense of connection to the world, to humanity, to other people, but also to spirit, to the universe. It's about the fantasy, it's about the idealization of things, and so Neptune sextile to Pluto, you know, really represents a transformative mode for our communications, our sense of connection, our ability to create, our spirituality, our relationship with the divine, sexuality. And, you know, if you think about how much, if you just think about how much gender roles, sex and sexuality, ideas about sex and sexuality, sex roles, and those kinds of things have changed since 1950. You know, you wouldn't recognize the world today if you were in 1950 looking at us now. And I have a feeling that by the time we get to 2032, you know, we will have a little bit more of a settled idea, a completely transformed, but perhaps a little more settled idea around the ideas of sex roles, gender roles, sexuality, that kind of thing. And then, you know, also it's about the transformation of the collective unconscious, right? We're going through a huge shift in our collective consciousness, but also in our collective unconsciousness. Aquarius is very conscious. It's kind of hyper conscious when it comes to equity and social justice, whereas Pluto is the subconscious. It's about those lessons we learn on a deeper level that allow us to change, to transform the way we human in the world, right? So huge transformations in the collective consciousness and unconsciousness happening in this next 2 months, in this next 20 years, in the next 9 years. You know, look for that. Be aware that, you know, if you find things changing, you know, if you find things are transformed from where you feel comfortable, and, you know, as a person in her middle age now, I can say that, you know, things have transformed in a lot of ways in our culture, in ways that make me sometimes a little uncomfortable. They make me feel like I'm getting behind. They make me feel, you know, like I can't keep up. But the transformation is there for a reason. It's all happening for a reason. It is so that, you know, when we get to, by the time we get to the end of this Pluto in Aquarius sort of transit, this 20 years that Pluto will be in Aquarius, give or take, you know, we will see humanity transformed, especially in terms of the way we connect to one another and the way we connect to the divine. So that's really big news, isn't it? Where do the heart and mind connect? This is the question to be answering. Where do your heart and mind connect? And what, how do they communicate? And what do you ever change your mind about when you know your heart has changed? When you feel that your heart has changed, do you put off that sort of call to adventure to change your mind and change your attitude toward life? Or when you feel that your heart has changed, do you get confused about it and put it off for a long time, right? So Pluto is asking you to embrace the changes, embrace the transformation, especially those transformations that take into account more people, more souls, more of the life on the planet, where we're able to hold more things in our perspective. And so the changes that we bring about, the transformations, the metamorphosis that we undergo isn't just about ourselves. It's not strictly personal. It is about our communities, our groups, our collectives, and humanity as a whole. And the Two of Wands is here to represent the first 10 days of the sun's transit here in the land of Aquarius. Aries. Pluto is going to Aquarius. The sun just got into Aries. So, the two of Wands is about planning. It's about sort of, it's about sort of looking out into the world and thinking about what you might be able to do with what you see there, right? You might have a couple of accomplishments under your belt, and you're seeking to make more. So it's a time of planning. It's a time of looking ahead. It's a time of like doing discovery and research and getting details together. And with that said, I'm going to turn this card over. Oh, I got the Hierophant. Okay, so this is the Forhasha fairy deck by M.J. Cullinane, and this is what the Hierophant looks like here. And you see this person sort of kneeling at the base of a gigantic tree, and there are flowers there, but what you can see is the earth beneath them and the roots that go down, right? So the Hierophant is a person who is very aware of roots, of tradition. They have sort of learned at the knees of of the greats in in institutional ways, and knowing the rules by which to live and by which to act, they can sort of they learn, and then they become teachers of other people of how to be in the world. So the Hierophant is very much about it very much represents institution, which is interesting because Pluto is just leaving Capricorn, where it's been transforming our institutions for 20-25 years, right? So the Hierophant in this case probably represents institutions on the verge of permanent change. And when I say that, I think in terms of like the Catholic Church. I think in terms of like big governments, like, national governments. I think in terms of big intergovernmental coalitions, that kind of thing. People who have known how to do these things all along and who have followed that way. And so they continue to do things that way. And that's how they bring other people into the fold. And that's how those things continue to get done that way. Well, we're at a time where we're looking at these old institutions, old cultural, habitual ways of being, and saying, that's not how we want to do things anymore, right? We want to back it up, go a little record scratch, a little, right? Like we want institutions that work to do what they say that they do. We want social equity. We want justice for all. And if you are the person who represents the institution that has always been and thinks it will always be, you have to see the transformation coming. And if you don't see the transformation coming and sort of follow that call to adventure, right? Follow that call to a transformation, and institutions famously do not like transformation, okay? So it's usually rough. It's usually a hard thing. Don't expect Pluto in Aquarius to be all, lollipops and rainbows, because it really is going to count. It's really going to call on us to make sure every voice is heard, every vote is counted, every person is considered, okay? We're going to be called on to nurture independent thinking at this time. So, that's a reminder to the Hierophant that there's more to life than simply following the rules and sort of guarding the gate to higher, to mastery, guarding the gate to sort of higher education, or guarding the gate to more power as well. And with the, together with the Two of Wands, it's almost like you've got this institution is one great big wand, that this giant tree that's been growing here for many, many years. Like, okay, we've accomplished this, we've done this, but, this is not the end. This is not necessarily enough. We've got to go out into the world and see what more we can make of it. And especially with Pluto in Aquarius, what more we can make of it in terms of uplift and support for the human collective, for the collective of life on Earth. And the Sun and Moon are in Aries. The Sun especially is in Aries right now. It just got into Aries. This is really the beginning of the zodiac year for 2023. This is the time to be getting started, to be making moves, to be making your plans, to be thinking about what it is that you want to do, in the future, what kind of things you want to accomplish for the really transformation of these old institutional ways of being. All right, I think that's all I have to say about it, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your presence. I'll see you all back here another time for Astrology Today and Tarot.